Hey guys, it's Miss Lewis and I'm coming at you with another science video for today, April 23rd. Today's topic is, as you can see, photosynthesis. We've been talking about plants for the last 2 weeks and now we're going to really dive deep into something we've talked about a little bit before, photosynthesis. So think back to our very first science lesson. We talked a little bit about photosynthesis. Do you remember anything about what we said? I know it's something that plants do. Can you think of anything else? I hear what you're saying, yeah. I remember that too. So let's talk learning targets. I am learning to identify the functions of plants. All right, I want you to say that with me. I am learning to identify, which we know means to point out, the functions of plants. I know I have it when I can create a visual representation of photosynthesis. So think back to yesterday when you created your scientific diagram. It wasn't finished yet, but today we're going to finish it. And so that's how we know that we can identify the functions of plants. So let's talk about our Victor vocab, the vocab that's going to make us victorious in today's lesson. Of course, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process that plants use to make food for themselves, and we'll talk about it way more in depth in just a few minutes. Glucose. Glucose is the scientific word for sugar. This is what the plants make through photosynthesis. Think of it as plant food. All right. Energy. Think about how you feel when you don't have any food versus when you finally get to eat after a long day. That food brings you energy. So think of energy as power. It helps the plant be able to function and stay alive. Just like food for us helps us function and stay alive, it gives us energy. So think of that energy as power. Chlorophyll. Everybody say it with me. Chlorophyll. All right. Chlorophyll is the green pigment or coloring in plants that helps them absorb energy from sunlight. So think of the color of your skin. The color of the plant skin is green, and it helps it take in that energy from the sun. All right. Carbon dioxide. Everybody say it with me. Carbon dioxide. That sounds good. Carbon dioxide is a type of gas that's in the air. We exhale it when we breathe. Plants use it during photosynthesis. All right, so I want to everybody take a deep breath in. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, now deep breath out. You just released carbon dioxide into the air. It's something that we exhale when we breathe, and plants use it to make food for themselves. Oxygen. Oxygen is the air that we breathe. All right, so I want you to take a deep breath in. Ready, go. Look at all that oxygen you just took in. Plants put oxygen into the air when they perform photosynthesis. So they're like the opposite of us. They take in carbon dioxide and they breathe out oxygen. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Isn't that cool? All right, so I have a challenge for you. Are you up to it? I challenge you to come up with an original song to help you remember the vocabulary we learned today. Anyone who creates a song will earn a private lunch bunch with Miss Lewis. I'm so excited to hear what you come up with because I know I have some creative kiddos who are up to the challenge. All right, you can go back and review this video as many times as you want, get the vocabulary down, and come up with a great song to help you remember. All right, see ya. Grab your photosynthesis diagram that you made yesterday. You're going to need it. And before I forget, your secret word for today is 3 because we're talking about the big three of photosynthesis. So, of course, our secret word is going to be 3. All right, now that you've got your photosynthesis diagram and a pencil, I got something to show you. Hey guys, so now we are going to dive deep into photosynthesis. So, the title of our scientific diagram is called the Big Three of Photosynthesis. So, that tells you that there are going to be 3 major ingredients for photosynthesis. And now we're going to fill out our diagram to help us remember. Number 1, so grab your pencils. The first ingredient is sunlight. The plant uses the chlorophyll that's in its leaves to soak up all that energy from the sun. All right? So underneath sunlight, we're going to write, it gets trapped by chlorophyll in the leaves. And we know that chlorophyll is what gives the plants that green color, right? All right, so now we know that sunlight gives the plant energy. So here, to help us remember, we're going to write sunlight equals energy. And we know that energy is power, right? All right, so now we have ingredient number 1. Let's move on to ingredient number 2. Ingredient number 2 is here. That ingredient is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide goes in through tiny holes on the bottom of the leaves. And so let's write that there to help us remember. Goes in through tiny holes in leaves. Don't worry if you can't see that or you need me to slow down. You can pause the video at any time, and I'll be posting our finished diagram onto Google Classroom so that you can see if you missed any parts. All right, now we're moving on to ingredient number 3. So we have sunlight, carbon dioxide. The last ingredient that plants need to perform photosynthesis is going to be water. Water goes in through the roots of the plant. It's quite thirsty after taking in all of the energy from the sunlight and taking in all the carbon dioxide from the air. It's really thirsty, so it's got to suck up some of that water from its roots. And to help us remember that, we're going to write that down at the bottom. Goes in through roots. All right. Now we got to think about, okay, now what happens? So it has the sunlight, has the carbon dioxide, and has the water. What does it do with them? So we know that photosynthesis is the way that the plant makes food for itself. So once it's combined, the big 3 of photosynthesis, it starts to put things back out. One of the first things that it puts out is going to be something called glucose. And we talked about this in our Victory vocabulary. Glucose is a big word for sugar, and it's the food that the plant needs to keep on growing. So glucose, and we're just going to say underneath glucose, the plant's food. And we draw an arrow out of the plant so we know that the plant produces glucose, or it makes its own glucose, right? All right. So now that it's got its food, its glucose, it also releases one more thing. The plant releases oxygen. Oxygen is the air that we breathe, right? So we're going to write underneath the air we breathe. And we put an arrow going out so we know that the oxygen is released from the plant, not taken in by the plant. Does that make sense? All right, so now we know the big three of photosynthesis. We know 1 is sunlight, 2 is carbon dioxide, and 3 is water. And the plant takes all of these things and does its big performance of photosynthesis and gives us oxygen in the air and makes glucose for itself. Now you know the big three of photosynthesis. Congratulations, everybody. See you later.